Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hello and welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm Eva Maria, your Monday hostess for this season. And this week, for season 6, week 13, we're going to be talking about working with dolls, puppets, and their use. Before I get into this topic, I would just like to apologize for the lateness of this video. Today was insanely busy. Also, I'm going to apologize in advance for the shortness of this video. I don't have a lot of time. It's 11:10 right now as I'm filming this. I have to hop in the shower. I have to go to bed. I have to be awake at 3 a.m. in order to make it to work, to start at 5. So I'm going to have to kind of handle my scandal a little quickly for you today. Doll work, it's a genre of work that magical practitioners from many paths that originate from various cultures, all around the world do. It's something that I think is probably inherently human. And also, I could be wrong, but I think it originated in a time before photography. As far as I gather, it's a method of working that helps practitioners to visualize a target of work. It provides a clearer focus for working on others. However, I think it's important to keep in mind that doll work shouldn't be seen as something that's like, oh my God, spooky, bad, negative, dark, no. It doesn't have to be for like negative ends. There are many positive workings that are done through doll work. There's no one particular way either to do doll work. It's not like there's a right or wrong way, or there's only one way. There are so many different approaches. Many people go about their doll work in many different ways. Also, various kinds of dolls are used. Some use paper dolls, some use cloth dolls, some use, for example, corn dollies. Some buy like pre-made dolls in the store, in some store somewhere, and they use those. It doesn't so much matter, whether you're making a salt dough doll or a clay doll or whatever kind of doll. A doll is a doll as long as it suits the needs of your working, and as long as you feel that it captures the essence of the person that you will be doing work on or for. That's what matters. And as long as you, in doing your working, feel very strongly about your intention as well, that matters also. I think those are probably the two most important aspects of doll work. In modern times, though, I don't see anything wrong with substituting doll work with photographs, or incorporating maybe photographs into doll work somehow, because photographs really, I think, do capture the essence of a person. If you do choose to work with photographs in relation to or in place of a doll, I would say try to use maybe a photograph that is very recent, a very new photograph, because we sort of change as human beings throughout our lives, and I think it is important to capture the essence of a person closer to the time period in their life that you are trying to influence them. Not that you couldn't use like a photo of somebody when they're a teenager, when they're, to try to affect them when they're like, let's say, in their 20s or 40s or whatever. But I just think maybe visualizing them as they are might help. And that's how I would go about it. I would try to use a more recent photograph if I was incorporating a photograph into this kind of work. So back to what I was saying about it doesn't have to be negative. You don't have to do doll work only for cursing people and hurting people. Doll work can be used to heal people, to bless people, sometimes even to sweeten people. For example, there was a time a while ago where I had a client that I was helping out with a court case. And I suggested to this client to create a doll of the judge. And I said, what I want you to do is I want you to coddle this doll, be sweet to this doll, talk sweetly to the doll, um, you know, treat it sweetly, make it a nice little bed, give it, sweet things to eat and so on and so forth, maybe like drop, if you're going to do something like this, you could use like an eyedropper or something and drop like sweet water, sugar water onto its mouth and like things like that, you can just all kind of sweet gestures and behaviors toward it. You get the idea, kind of being really sweet toward the doll. Well, needless to say, that obviously worked very well because my client's case went in their favor, and there was more to this than just work with the doll, but that was one way in which, we sweetened the judge toward my client. You could do work similar, to sweeten a person toward you if their disposition is rather sour and you need them to kind of be more fond of you. For example, if you have a boss that isn't quite kind toward you or understanding of you, or like you need someone to kind of be more on your side, you could sweeten them up by creating a doll of them, coddling it, being really nice to it, feeding it sweet water, things like that. In terms of healing, you could work healing, energy work, if you do like Reiki, let's say, on a doll of someone, especially if they are remote, they are not in your area, but you're doing like remote healing for them. Or even if someone is in your area, but you're doing healing work on them, you could do energy work, for example. One thing that I do sometimes is, being that it's sympathetic magic, I recommend that in healing work with a doll, if someone has an afflicted part of the body, let's say, you could bandage up that part of the body, care for that part of the body as though you would care for, massage it or do whatever you feel, would sort of symbolize like taking care of that sort of part of the body. If that's something that you feel resonates with you and makes sense to you in terms of working, let's say, a healing doll. These are just examples. And again, I apologize that I'm being so really quick and just kind of glossing over things. I really don't have a lot of time. I'm going to allow the other hosts on this channel this week to really get into the nitty-gritty of this topic. I do invite you, though, if you have any questions for me in regard to doll work, what I think about certain things, what I would recommend in certain cases, feel free to put those down in the comments. Just because I don't have a lot of time right now doesn't mean I can't come back and like answer you back and give you my feedback in particular aspects of things. So, don't hesitate to put any questions or, things you'd like my insight on down in the comments below. I will get back to you. But I think at this point, I really need to wrap up this introduction to this week's topic. I really need to turn the floor over to our other hosts. And again, I thank you for your patience with me. It's just sometimes life kind of gets crazy. But, keep an open mind in your doll work. Don't think that it has to be a particular kind of doll. Don't think you have to work it in a particular kind of way. I do think that it is good to do some research, seek out what others say in general, not just on this channel, but, online in other places, or even face-to-face, talking to other practitioners, reading, things in books or wherever. Seek out resources of information in regard to your doll work, because even though there is no one way, there's no right way, no wrong way, you can learn a lot and you can kind of sort of gather intel, pick the brains of other practitioners and kind of develop your own working method for doll work, something that resonates with you, works with you, suits your needs, etc. And you can also, from others just sharing with you their experience, their wisdom, whatever, the things that they've come to find, you can sort of maybe develop a more well-rounded, I guess you could say, understanding of and skill level in doing doll work. Just kind of be like an informational sponge. And with that said, I'm going to wish you blessed be and ashe. And until next week, until next time, you stay awesome. And bye-bye for now.